What's going on, guys? It's Dylan here. Today we'll be going over a ticker symbol analysis on the ticker symbol AMC. Seeing new buyers emerge in the market since this big descending resistance marker has been broken, guys. We started to see a little bit of volume confirmation and some squeeze to the upside. A lot of AMC investors, traders, Reddit people, all these kind of people are wondering at the moment, guys, where will AMC stock price go? Right, we're starting to see a lot of these short, small cap stocks squeeze up and people are wondering if AMC is next. Within today's video, guys, we'll remain 0% biased to either side. We'll look at a bunch of different time frames, guys, to get an actionable price target and levels to watch moving forward into the next trading days and or weeks. Let's get straight into the video, guys. On the weekly time frame, guys, we do see some bottom out signs, which we haven't quite seen in some years. I have been bearish on AMC on the last few years. Nothing against the community, the hodlers. I think it's great, guys. I actually used to own AMC in 2020. I was a believer. I ended up selling for a profit, but that's beside the story. I do think it's great, but looking at the chart, guys, we can't help but say stock is moving down. It's gotten crushed. If you say anything outside of that, you are biased, and that's the last thing we want to be as a technical analyst, guys. So looking at the stock price, we are seeing some signs, though, that stock is bottoming out, and there might be some short-term bullish momentum to come. Starting this pattern off with a very, very simple beginning of the formation, stock price knifes down, right? Sellers in control before buyers step up very, very aggressively in these lows. We will highlight blue, right? Before buyers step right back up, guys, pushing the stock price up before knifing down once again into these lows, revisiting these low areas. Buyers step right back up and say, hey, this is a nice area. We've seen that buyers stepped in a couple months ago, right at these lows. We like the price. We like the price. So they stepped up, guys. They stepped up once again. And we're starting to see that other part of the W form once again, guys. So, how fast this will form is really the big question, but we should expect this upside, guys. We'll jump into the smaller time frames to get that price perspective. But as of now, that $5 level clearly being the breakout level. Whenever we approach this level, guys, stock price obviously wicks out. But whenever there's any volume to back this movement, that hard psychological $5 resistance marker, which is also coincidentally with the biggest resistance on the weekly, right? Once you've seen that volume, guys, we squeeze all the way from $5 to, let's see what the top of that is, 12 bucks, guys. So even though it was short-lived, you see that if we can get that volume confirmation, guys, over the top, there could be a whole lot of price action upside from here, arguably 100, 200%, right? We will need to see the short squeeze, guys, and the volume confirmation to get that movement, but that is very clear right away. So looking at the weekly time frame, despite being, bearish over the last few years, guys, we will say that within the short term, we do remain bullish. We'll get a lot more signs and clues and data on the different time frames. But as of now, we're starting to see that double bottom form back up, stock price knifed all the way down about 50%. Definitely pretty beat up, and it would make sense to see a little bit of some price action upside to come. So something notable, guys, is that the resistance markers, these support markers, they all coincide with the psychological resistance levels, which we briefly touched upon on the weekly analysis, guys. With these kind of stocks, when they get to, $4, $5, $10, right? These hard psychological numbers, they do offer that resistance. So to see these big marker points be exactly lined up with the psychological resistance, being that double resistance and support markers, definitely got to feel confident as far as the daily structure, right? So we're seeing that $3.60 resistance. We're seeing the $4 resistance. We're seeing the $5 resistance. So very caught, clear and dry, guys. On the daily, of course, we've seen that buyer pressure step back up before getting flushed down. And this is kind of the overall market right now, guys. If we jump over to GameStop, because we will see comparisons between the two, very simple thing, guys, right? Stock price surged up before getting flushed for a couple days, and that's what we're seeing stock. If we jump over to DBA, another short squeeze stock, to a smaller scale, right? The stock price rose before coming right back down. So, very, very simple, guys, but we're seeing the same thing with AMC. So, of course, the big question now is, will this hold? Is this a short-term movement where Buyers get tricked out from these lows and then it knifes back down. As of now, there definitely is more indication that we actually will continue and try to rise up higher. The number one sign, guys, we're going to see on the daily, if this doesn't hold to fruition, is if these lows get taken out. Very, very simple, cut, clear, dry. But when we initially started to see liquidity within the market, we regained and pushed over that big $3 psychological and hard number level until accordingly wicking out once with this baby wick, twice, gapping up, coming right back down to this level, bouncing, running up, right? And then coming down and bouncing once and twice, guys. So within theory, if the sellers do take out this rough level, really we'll say around that, $325 level, which we will mark up. If this is taken out, guys, then it's not looking good. That's not looking good at all. So if we take the Fibonacci from the bottom to the top of this movement, at that point, we would be retracting deeper than a 50 to 60% retracement, which is historically where you want to see healthy pullbacks occur. So of course, being this confluence, guys, if that 325 does break, we should be easily moving down to $3. And then from that case scenario, it's, you've given up the entire movement. The stock's already been beaten up on the weekly. This is not the time for short-term weakness, guys. To keep it blunt and clear, with these small cap kind of stocks, we get very, very simple, easy bias. It's not as in-depth as our other TA videos. There's a lot more simple signs. So that is something right away. It is nice to see these wicks, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 confirmations just in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days. Stock price in theory should get the upside as we've seen this bullish engulfing. So keep that in mind, guys. The main thing on the daily, we want to see 360 being broken if you're a bull and eventually regain this $4 level. As once we gain over $4, guys, there's really no resistance until $5. Doesn't mean we have to immediately get there, but there is no hard resistance until then. With that being said, guys, keeping it really, really simple. Anything over this 360 level is bullish for the buyers. We would expect them to continue to rise up in that double bottom weekly pattern, right? Continuing the short squeeze of this descending resistance and following a lot of the other small caps within the market. But to play devil's advocate, guys, if we do break this very, key short-term resistance being that 325, anywhere under this level, guys, is pretty bearish. As within these, short squeeze kind of setups, stocks really only been arising for the last, say, week and a half, right? With these general candles here. So if we see that short-term snuff move where sellers push stock all the way back down or tracing around 100% of this movement, that's a very negative psychology, guys. And then within that Rhino region, sellers should easily be able to take control and kind of just do what they've done, slowly drag down the stock. The stock needs volume, it needs momentum. As you've seen it starting to creep in, guys, that's going to be really the number one indication. And of course, where does the trend go? Right up from this level or down from there. With that being said, let's go jump over to the hourly. So looking at the hourly chart, guys, it does not take a rocket scientist to tell you that we have been basing it on that 360 level, right? Setting that descending resistance, but being that resistance level at 360, we don't need to set that descending. We just see on the hourly, guys, there has been this consolidation phase, right, building over the past, really day or so. So to see stocks sit here pretty patient amongst this short squeeze and beginning potential, you got to think that if we do break over 360, there could be a lot of upside to come. Once again, reaffirming what we said on the daily, being that this is the green box where the blue box, whatever you want to say, where buyers, they're in control. As long as they continue this, right, and play devil's advocate below this range is pretty bearish, guys. So this is very, very time sensitive. This is not something I'd be sitting on my hands, guys, and No, this is something we really need to keep an eye on. In the past, when AMC doesn't get that, sustained volume movement like we've seen over here, guys, seen that big squeeze up, right? We've seen the volume back it. You look at the volume, but then right after that, guys, we broke this key level, the volume decreased, and we just got faded away. We just got absolutely destroyed. So that's the last thing you want to see now. It's the volume presence, which we've seen, which has stepped up, completely gets snuffed. Stock price starts to go down, breaks this 325 within that level, within that, space, guys, we should be seeing something like this. Maybe not quite exactly, but you have to be bearish. So with that being said, guys, centering back to the hourly, the last main thing we want to mention is this ascending support. Stock roughly has this ascending support going up. Keep an eye on this, guys. We're seeing almost every single small cap in the market currently forming this kind of structure. When we jump over to GME, you see the same exact thing in GME, right? A little bit more exemplified as we've seen more price action to back it. But we've seen this massive daily support, which stock is currently sitting at, right? Jumping over to AMC, we see that on the hourly. So it's a little bit different, guys, but this will be some short-term gauge. And once again, centering back, if we do break 325, we would easily have been broken from this ascending support. Moving over to BBAI and then the short squeeze stock, you see once again, guys, an ascending support line sitting right on it. And AMC has the same. It is more of a, hourly perspective, not so much the daily. You do see it on the daily, not quite as clean. So with that being said, guys, I think we have some pretty easy, data points in front of us. If stock, can't confirm to break over this 360, we've been consolidating on it for the last few days. Stock price might drag back down, of course, and then if we do break through 25, we're likely to go down to $3. We'd be breaking systemic support where a lot of small caps are hanging upon. So I think it's pretty simple, guys. I think you'll see a lot of these short squeeze stocks either, continue to the upside together, right? Bouncing off this key ascending support line, or we'll see a lot of them confirm together to the downside. So I'd say keep an eye on everything, guys. Everything should move in unison as they have continued to historically over the last, say, really forever, but especially over the last couple of years since Reddit stocks have made, a big impact on the short squeeze community. If you enjoyed the video, guys, like, subscribe, all that. Went over a couple things today, but really pretty simple. Keep an eye on these market points. We will remain unbiased as the weeks transpire. So if you guys want to see these videos, like, subscribe. Let me know you guys want to see them. These Reddit stocks I typically don't cover as much. They're more a liquid, but they're very simple in a lot of ways. And almost every single stock has a lot of upside in short squeeze stocks right now, but there is, a very important time right now to put it very cut, clear, and dry, So with that being said, like, subscribe, all that, and